No, I'm just going to, well, yes, then if you want. I'm going to, Fernando's a very experienced speaker, and so he's been in Toastmasters for a number of years and has worked professionally. And so I'm going to just do a standard evaluation for him. My way of doing it is usually a little bit harder. Do you want that today, Nando, or not?
I got a hard one from France the first time.
Oh, a normal one. We're going to do a normal one today. So it will be a normal standard evaluation.
And what's the difference between a hard one and a normal one?
You guys get a normal one, and anyone that's been a speaker for more than 5 years gets that, essentially.
No, it's very much on a grade. So, I mean, in the club, up till now, it's an area of dispute at the minute. Up till now, normally we do the standard Toastmaster evaluation, which is very positive and very friendly, especially when you're a beginner. And we hold separate beginner classes, and we give this feedback gently. And we normally provide very simple feedback from one person. And so each time you improve on an area and you're not overwhelmed by too many points and so on, that's standard feedback. And the standard feedback is a sort of sandwich method. So you deliver something that's positive, then you talk about something that you maybe could improve, and then there's something that you challenge, maybe as a challenge point for yourself. That's a standard feedback session. In the other evaluation types of sessions that we've done, we look at doing this in a more real-world setting, when you're ready and more experienced. And so if you're a professional speaker, or you're in business, or you're in academia, or you do this as a job, standing up and speaking, the reality is that sometimes you get very hard evaluations. And so there are some of us in the club that have practiced that for the right people, sometimes.
Thank you very much, Paul.
Non-nitpicky versus very nitpicky.
Please help me welcome Fernando Azevedo. One size doesn't fit all. One size doesn't fit all. Fernando Azevedo.
Very good evening, everyone. Now, one size doesn't fit all. Why do I bring that up? My pathway has been effective coaching, and this past Toastmasters year, I was requested to coach a club that was teetering on the brink of closure. That was the Mercedes-Benz South Africa corporate club. And it did not start off well. I went to visit them, and my first speech was quoting a whole bunch of Vince Lombardi, because that's my background as a coach. The coaching that I have done has been in martial arts and in cricket, and sports coaching specifically, where there's not that much encouragement as much as there is, pointing, getting the right direction right, checking what's being done wrong, and fixing those areas. And I just realized, perhaps a bit too late, that that wasn't going to work here. And that we needed to figure out a way that I could work with this group, and that they weren't afraid to constantly come to me. Now, something you need to know about Mercedes-Benz is they are a corporate club. For those of you who are new to Toastmasters, there are many. We have varying types of clubs in Toastmasters. There's men's only clubs, there's ladies only clubs. There are clubs that are for people that are a little bit more aged, a little bit more advanced. And then we also have, and we call them buffaloes. We call them the buffalo clubs. And then we have corporate clubs, and that's where these companies can sponsor people to be members of Toastmasters, and they use the pathways to actually progress their careers. Mercedes-Benz is one of those clubs. There's also a club at BMW. There's a club at the Reserve Bank of South Africa as well. Quite a large club. Now, I started thinking about a game that I'm really bad at, which is chess. When I learned chess in high school, we had quite a terrible coach. He just told us the first day, this is how the queen moves, this is how the knight moves, this is how the bishop moves, how's the castle move, and you have to check his notes quickly, and this is how the castle moves, this is what the pawns can do. All right, now play each other and let me know if you have any questions. So, yeah, fantastic coaching there. Now, essentially, that's actually how all sports work. You have a set of rules, you have a set of parameters, and a set of boundaries. And I started thinking to myself, okay, before I work on me, which I did have to do, how can I work on the strategy for this club? What do we know? They only have an hour to meet. What's the standard modus for Toastmasters? It's 2 hours, 2 to 2.5. They don't seem to au fait with the type of speeches that are being done regularly, and they're not sure what they can and what they can't do. They also have very few members. 7 paid, but only 3 to 4 show up every 2 weeks. Also, their meetings were very sporadic. So what did I start to think about? I started to think, all right, here are the parameters. How can we change things up a little bit that work for them? For those of you who don't know, Pretoria Advanced, when we were still called TAG, probably about 3-4 years ago, we were also teaching. We were called Tshwane Advanced, the Tshwane Advanced Group, we were called TAG. And we were 8 members, of which only 4 people showed up, most of the time. And we changed the entire dynamic, because we said to ourselves, okay, Toastmasters has this set of rules. There's nothing to say that we can't maneuver around them. We changed our name to Pretoria, so that when you Google us, you can actually find us, all right? Secondly, we changed the way that we do things. We do our evaluations immediately after. We have open evaluations. We have a bit more discussion. It's a little bit more interactive. So I thought to myself, how can I get this into a corporate club? What is the big thing that all of these guys have to do? Most of the people in that room were salespeople. So what I landed up doing was a metamorphosis company. Right? That was a weak one, sorry. What I landed up doing was the type of table topics that I introduced last year, which was the discussion. But I changed it up a little bit. I told them, okay, you need to come up with a short, little opening speech on any topic that you like. And the first person came up and they wanted to talk about something to do with BMW. I said, no, we're not going to talk about that. That's why nobody's coming. And I made them talk about bunny hugger power. Sorry, solar power. I'm an engineer from petrochemical, okay? I don't believe in any of that rubbish. All right. So I did an opening speech for them, and what did I do? I went, okay, you tell me why I'm wrong. Out of nowhere, and they had to come up with something. Right, okay, now you ask a question on what they've just done. And suddenly, I did that for about two or three people, and then suddenly a conversation started to happen. Why did I want to do that? When you're in a corporate meeting, and someone has put up an idea that needs to be discussed, that's what happens. There's input, there's feedback, there's an outcome. From there, we managed to get about 5 or 6 people that came in and have joined the club. Not enough for me to get my DTM, sorry, but it was a good start. And so the club started to change, and I realized that without a greater input from me, that growth or that impetus was never going to happen. Because you can't solve a problem under the same mindset in which you found yourself in it. What did I have to change? My one size fits all as a coach is, I'm not going to come to you. You need help, you come to me. I'll try and help you, but I'm not going to go chase after you. And that's how I've always handled people that I've taught, people that I've coached, people that I've mentored. I'm not there, sorry for the expletive, I'm not there to wipe your butt. That's what I always used to say to the kids I coached. Sadly, this couldn't work here. I'm a deeply private person. I'm not the encourager. When I was president of this club, it was the one thing that Lynette and Mark always used to say to me, Nando, you need to clap more. Everybody leads from your clapping, and at Toastmasters we clap for everything. You're not clapping. I wasn't the encourager. I wasn't the small talk guy. And that's something that I had to change about myself. I needed to sit with them and ask them, how are things going, what's going on at home. It's not that I don't care, it's just that I feel that it's very deeply personal. But I needed to understand that so that I could relate to them. I also did need to start chasing more, which I don't like doing. But from there, the club has evolved. They now meet religiously every second Tuesday at 10:30 in the morning. They have tons of visitors. I told them you don't have meetings behind closed doors. Open the doors, let the people outside hear you talking. People come in and they visit. And there's an entire dynamic that has changed. Simply because they grasped, and I grasped, that you can't use one formula to fix everything. There's a job. Right, can we have the timers report?
Fernando.
Yes?
10 minutes and 10 seconds.
Okay, so Justin, winning! Grammarian's report. I think I counted about 7 so's. How close am I?
Well, which ones were necessary and which ones were unnecessary?
I think only 2 were necessary.
You're right.
Yes!
There were about 5 that you used. I only counted 3 that was unnecessary. Your as 5 of them.
Yeah.
Your word of the day, 1, well done. There's one word you used, impetus. I quickly Googled it. It was a lovely word. Core definitions: motivation, the incentive or catalyst that drives a specific action or decision, or momentum. In physical context, the force or energy in which a body moves. Nice word. One word that I didn't hear so nicely was that you used obey. Was it obey?
Obey.
Obey.
Sorry, I'm not very au fait.
Obey. I've no. How do you spell that?
A-U.
A-U.
Space. F-A-I-T.
I learned a new word today.
It's French.
That's what we hear. Au fait is an adjective phrase meaning completely familiar with, well informed about, or up to date on a particular subject. Examples in a sentence: I just started a new job, so I'm not entirely au fait with the company's software. Thank you.
Paul, you need a little more time?
No.
All right, thank you. To the front for my bollocking. Paul Miller.
Nando is ever a very good talk. One of the things that we can do during these evaluations is comment to the person. And sometimes that's the most valuable thing that we can do, especially at the start. But when you're very experienced, you start to hear the same thing again and again. And so at the same time when we're delivering the evaluation, it's actually for the benefit of others around as well, especially when they're starting, to kind of hear how that comes together. So I'm going to put mine into a couple of different parts. One of them is generic, and then we'll come back to the more specific elements. I think you all know, you can hear quite clearly, that Nando's been a voice coach before, and he has exceptional, not just excellent projection. There's something dramatic and engaging about his voice as well. He uses this emphasis very appropriately. Sometimes there might be phrases that he used, for example, where he'd say, what's been done wrong? You know, we could say that ordinarily, and what he'll say is, what's been done wrong? And you hear that emphasis come through, and you listen to the meaning of the sentence there. He also includes conversational humour, and he does that in most of his speeches. And it's small, it's not always like a laugh-a-minute, ha-ha joke, but it's of great comfort to hear these little humorous points. So, for example, just even the expression, bunny hug of power. Okay? Or, you know, he's laughing at his own joke there. But I mean, it's a great little line, right, to make you sort of sit up, listen, and realise there's some humour in the talk. I think that you also see with someone like Nando that he's very comfortable up here. And he uses the floor effectively if he wants to, and he doesn't mind for the short period of time if he's turning his back to someone, and he'll come up and engage with you. And you can see that his body movements, because he's so comfortable and experienced, his body movements are entirely consistent with his talk. And so he tends not to do these sort of small movements, you know, that are less effective, because he's very comfortable. So if he wants to demonstrate something, he brings out large movements, and you can see that he's comfortable doing that. When he needs to, he'll make little pauses. There's something in his language was great, but we've already had commentary on that. I won't re-emphasize that. I think that the things that I notice from now in the second part, where it's now more directed towards Nando, this sort of talk from Nando falls into a couple of different things straight off, I would say. Some technical talks which are directly related to him being an engineer and a professional and needing to develop, to deliver information accurately. And then this sort of talk that's more casual. Now, because he's quite experienced, he doesn't have to prepare for this sort of talk. Some of us don't have to prepare for it as much. And so there's more conversational fluidity. And if I'm harsh with that, sometimes I can hear that you're making it up a little bit more on the spot. Because you're very fluid. Occasionally you struggle. Chess, we had quite a terrible coach, and you lose the fluidity for a bit, and you lose your track a little bit, right, as to what your point was. And so if we were being a little bit hard with Nando's speech today, it was that there wasn't necessarily a proper introduction, the midpoint, the conclusion. The conclusion was actually very good. It probably should have been introduced somewhere further back, and that reinforcement, that rounding of the talk to bring it back on point. And so that's the challenge I would give you for even spontaneous talks. For spontaneous talks, it might be worth still thinking quite carefully about how you round that talk out and how you present the conclusion maybe in advance and then repeat it. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you.